if that is something that sparks a curiosity, a fascination in your mind, like a little bit of that is healthy, where you're like, let me investigate this stuff further. But if you don't have any critical thinking associated with it, you can find yourself in the whims of like, the did it so quickly. Let's get back to the drones, baby. Speaking of narratives, it's drone time, baby. But I guess, in terms of Israel, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump made it clear in private conversations the annexation of areas in the West Bank is off the table. People familiar with the matter indicated, yeah, okay, we'll see. We'll see about that. All right.
Calls for action about those reported drone sightings over the Northeast. New York's governor adding her voice after sightings forced a temporary shutdown at an international airport, saying this has gone too far. ABC's Phil Lipoff joins us now with more. Phil, good morning.
Hey, Wick, good morning. There are two real main problems here. First, the sightings continue daily. And then the federal government, according to many local politicians and a lot of residents, still hasn't defined who's flying these drones and why. More questions than answers this morning.
Look at it.
Frustration building with each new drone sighting across the Northeast.
And seems like there's multiple drones all over this airport tonight, man.
The FAA forced to slow traffic at Stewart International Airport Friday night north of New York City because of multiple reports of drone sightings in the area. Overnight, Mayor Eric Adams saying his team is taking the reports of drones in the region seriously.
We're going to have an immediate response. We're getting ready to check. We're getting ready to look into some new innovative ways of, if need be, to take down drones with the proper permission from the FAA.
And New York's Governor Kathy Hochul saying this has gone too far, demanding that the Biden administration step in by directing additional federal law enforcement to New York and the surrounding area. In Ocean County, New Jersey, the Sheriff's Department launching its own industrial drone after numerous reports of sightings in the area. One deputy reporting roughly 50 drones coming in over the ocean.
The facts are that they are very big objects in the sky. The fact is that's just concerning to us, is nobody has seen them land or take off.
Reports of drones flying near a naval weapons station in New Jersey as well.
And I did talk to the commander there. His men are seeing it right there at the base. Are you kidding me? A munitions depot of that caliber, and these drones are hovering in close proximity to it.
I really think is like the ones that are like near military bases, I think are just like regular people, regular Americans that are, either podcast brained or whatever. And they're just trying to figure out what's going on in the military base, or just like people fucking around. That's what I think. Cause like, are you sure of that? Yes, I am. You want to know why? I think that I'm of the mindset that there are probably like drone swarms that were seen by regular citizens who lost their fucking minds, that were most likely experimental technology. Okay. But then outside of that, there are drones everywhere. Like you could just buy drones. Like, I don't know how to explain this to people. Like if you go to Best Buy, you could buy drones. Okay. And my assessment of the situation is that like, there are plenty of people who will take those drones, there are plenty of people who take those drones and just like fly them around military bases or wherever they want to fly it around. Okay. And oftentimes the bases will take them down, like understandably. These aren't Best Buy drones. How are you're not, first of all, when you say that, I don't think we're having the same conversation, because you don't know what we're talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. How do you know? Especially when half the imagery that people are pointing to saying these are drones or aliens are just straight up regular flights, commercial airliners, or delivery airliners. The best way to find out about other drones are using other drones. Hobbyists are probably having a field day wanting to figure out what these mysterious drones are, hence adding to more drones to the sky. Yeah. I think that there are a lot of people who are just like ripping their personal drones now, and that's freaking people out even more. And we've seen it over and over again. We've seen it in the news coverage of people being like, I'm a former policeman. I now have a podcast where I cover unexplained aerial phenomena. And, I put my drone out there the other night to investigate. And it's like, bro, you just freaked out 10 extra people. You know what I mean? When you did that.
So on a call with reporters, officials from a wide range of agencies, including the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and the FAA, a Joint Chiefs of Staff official confirmed those drone sightings near the naval station that you just saw, but added that they do not believe they are from a foreign actor or have malicious intent. Still, so many have this question, Janae, as to how do you know that?
So many questions, Phil. I'm saying this with a smile. Phil, thanks to you, but Whit is going to be out digging more into this story to try to get some answers. He's going to be playing a little bit of Mulder and Scully.
Right.
But no, you are going to be
getting
looking
to the files.
Yes, because so many people are talking about it, so it's a big.
Something I'd like to point out, at least 12 people were arrested between August 2016 and September 2016, the height of the clown panic, that year for staging or reporting fake clown sightings. Yeah. Drones are, for the most part, unregulated. You're required to register some with the FAA, but not all. And laws vary between states. While some sightings are people misidentifying aircraft and helicopters, others are likely people exploiting the media panic for personal reasons. Or people that are a part of the panic, people that saw the media panic and whipped up themselves in a frenzy and now are investigating. That's what it is. Like, I think that there are a lot of people, like, and I am not saying that there aren't like experimental drones that people saw, okay, drone swarms or whatever that people saw that freaked them out, okay? But I think while that might have been the inception point, for some people, this story has grown out of control. And now, because of the story becoming massively, massively popular, the way that Americans operate, they're now literally going, oh, dude, there's drones everywhere. Holy shit. There's something crazy going on. And then we take it one step further and people go, oh, it's a government psyop. It's got to be a government psyop. Even then, if you want to avoid going through a manufacturer for privacy reasons, assembling a drone isn't difficult. There are instructions for building DIY drones on YouTube, personal blogs, etc. Exactly. Panics like this are a good barometer to test out how rumors spread through the media. One of the misconceptions about Orson Welles' 1938 war, the world's broadcast, is that it created a nationwide panic for the night it was broadcast. There were localized panics in parts of New Jersey as people called local switchboards to verify the authenticity of the broadcast. Few people believed aliens were attacking, though a decent number thought it might be a news bulletin relaying info about a German attack. In the aftermath of the broadcast, newspapers inflated claims of a belief in the Mars attacks narrative because they were in competition with radio broadcasters. The panic was far bigger than anything that happened that night. It pointed towards the media as a vector of disinformation, something that has become all too common today. If you present a sensational claim, odds are many media outlets will credulously report it without bothering to do any due diligence. Put another way, everything you read, see, and hear is information warfare. Is the media colluding with law enforcement to distract people from the real events going on in the world? I don't think that there is a direct collaborative effort here to like shift your attention away in the way that this account, Robert Skvarla, is maybe even subtly hinting to. They do this. They certainly do this in times of need. Make no mistake. The media absolutely plays a role in justifying atrocities. The media actually plays a role in, Hasan, no shot you actually tweeted that shit? What shit? The media actively plays a role in justifying certain atrocities. The media actively plays a role in legitimizing certain actions that the State Department is taking. But ultimately, I don't know, like, I don't think the satanic panic, for example, in the early 90s was born out of some psyop need. I think the satanic panic was organic. The media is obsessed with if it bleeds, it leads narratives. And this is one of those things. That's it. We're not. Stop. You're shaking the whole table. Well, you're the one who brought her over here. Kaya, place. Come on. Get up there. Yeah, or 1930s, I believe, the Orson Welles one. Anyway, you're being a bad girl. Anyway, is the camera shaking? Is it just me? No, Marat was just petting. Marat was just petting Kaya. Anyway, and now it seems like it's coming to Germany. Let's go. Unidentified drones. spotted over U.S. airbase in Germany, report says. The problem with a lot of this, the problem with a lot of these stories is that, like, you know, people, it's monkey see, monkey do. Okay? So there's a likelihood that this could just be opportunists, or this could be foreign adversaries taking advantage of the chaos. But this happens all the time, for the record. Make no mistake. This has happened before. People have reported on this before. The issue is, now it's a massive story. It's becoming like it's bubbling up, and it's becoming like a real story. And when mainstream media starts reporting on it, then all of a sudden it turns into a valid claim. It's no longer something that, like, a bunch of random psychos are putting forward. Now it's a real valid thing that is occurring. Anyway, I don't think it's I don't think that this is like a significant conspiracy that, like, adversaries are actually doing drone swarms on U.S. soil. I think that it's, my assessment of it is, I think it was because of the ready availability of drones, and because of how difficult it is for the normal human eye to figure out, especially in the night sky, what is a drone and what is actually a helicopter, or what is just like a commercial airliner, that there is mass chaos and confusion. And I think the inception point might have been like experimental drones that some defense contractors were working on. I think now it is, the story is just instilling mass psychosis in Americans that are readily available to believe certain things. And that is creating even more drones that are flying in the air, because there's opportunists who want to, like, freak people out. But more importantly, there are other people who are freaked out that have their own drones, and now they're flying their drones. So given the ready availability of drones in general, I think that it's virtually impossible. It's virtually impossible to say that this is, like, all, you know, foreign adversaries or whatever. And no, I will not let Maras speak on it, chat. Come on.
On Saturday, the FBI and the
He can't publicly speculate on shit like this. What is wrong with you?
Department of Homeland Security reported on the early findings of their investigation into the slew of mysterious drone sightings in New Jersey and other states over the last couple of weeks, with residents and local officials.
I feel like you aren't a subject matter expert. Are you a subject matter expert? I'm not. I'm not a subject matter expert in most things. I'm just exercising critical thinking, okay? That's it. It's not like a superpower. It's just something that I try to instill in other people as well, with regular frequency. The problem here is, you know who else is not a subject matter expert? The random cop that says, oh, I saw a drone and I got fearful. But the difference is, they treat him as though he is a subject matter expert in this situation. Do you understand? He has institutional authority. So you are predisposed to believing him because you think he has first-hand accounts, and because he's a cop, you think, oh, he probably knows what he's talking about. We forget that our institutions across the board are not infallible. Our institutions across the board are run by dumbasses. Look at the Bellevue mayor. You know? Look at the congressional hearings that took place and how mad the New Jersey congresspersons were. And then you have the other problem. You have the problem on the other side. People that don't believe experts anyway. People that don't believe official organs of authority, official organs of communication. They don't believe it. And immediately assume the contrarian position. If the government is saying this, it must be fake. And then you have people who think, oh, this is a distraction. This is a distraction for this and that. This is a distraction away from Gaza. It's a distraction, a deliberately crafted conspiracy to make people forget about Luigi Mangione or some shit. And no, I don't think it's that, especially because Americans are so stupid. And the way that the media cycle works, especially with TikTok and especially with social media now, is that there's already a finite amount of time that people can pay attention to a single news story anyway. They don't need to do anything to move on to the next thing. Sometimes it's kismet. Sometimes things just get together, okay? And our pattern recognition focused minds end up thinking that there is this broad, grand conspiracy. There must be some reason for why it's happening, when it just happens to be a perfect scenario. And I'll give you the best example, going back to the United Healthcare CEO killer, Luigi Mangione, 286. Okay, you're right. Alleged. Moran said alleged. Alleged CEO killer. Okay, 286. The Bible verse for 286. The Pokemon that he had on his account was a 286 Pokemon. He was following 286 people. What does this mean? It must be a real conspiracy. And the thing is, the problem is, like, what you're doing is assigning value to a number and hyper focusing on that number. And you're basically, I mean, this is like early signs of schizophrenia, for the record. Like, this kind of numerical pattern recognition is yeah, Murat said, or becoming a Swiftie. Altoona is 286 miles from Midtown Manhattan. The denial code for insurance is 286. And sometimes it's just, you know, it just happened to be like that. Okay? Ensure. You're believing a guy who wrote ensure denial code. He's posted 286 times, bro. Altoona is 286 miles away from Midtown Manhattan. What does this mean? Yeah. Yeah, look, his cousin is following 286 people. If you don't see the connection, you are the insane one here. Yes, you're right. I am insane for not thinking that this is, not thinking that there's a pattern here. Everybody wants to be in on a secret. Everybody wants to be in on a secret that nobody else has been able to figure out. Everybody also wants to, like, have a neat little narrative that is perfectly wrapped with a bow that explains everything. Everyone wants to believe that there is, like, some grand conspiracy behind everything that's going on. And I think sometimes it makes people lose sight of, like, very simple pattern recognition that is unfolding right in front of their eyes. Okay? Better is the poor that walketh in his uprightness. That's the best part. With the Bible, hit him with the Bible quote. Yeah, you lose sight of the forest because you're hyper focused on the trees, dude. What is it? Bible verse 286. That's the first thing that comes up on Google as well, but it's not. Blessed you shall be when you come out. When you go out, the Lord will cause your enemies who rise against you to be defeated before they face. No, this is not the one. You wanted in on the secret about the Mexican wood elves? Yeah, I didn't believe that duendes are real, dude. What are you talking about? Proverbs 286. Better is the poor that walketh in his uprightness than that he is perverse in his ways, though he be rich. Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than he who is crooked, though he be rich. I'm scared. Not because we arrived at this like secret conspiracy. I'm scared that so many people are just like genuinely looking at all this stuff and breaking their brains. They're looking too hard. Here, this is a great Nick Mullen bit about conspiracies, okay? It's the best. It's so good.
It's funny, I think about it. That's probably where my conspiratorial thinking started, was when I was a young boy at the public pool. Because you remember that? You remember going to the pool? There would always be like a teacher's pet kid that was like, you know, if you pee in the pool, there's a chemical in the water that turns your pee red, and the lifeguard will see it and they'll send you to jail, right? And then you're like, oh my God, I don't want to go to jail. I'm 6. I can't. I'll be raped. I can't be a 6-year-old in jail.
So you think there's nothing to this? I don't know. On the spectrum, too many coincidences for my taste. There is the answer. I think I get it now. There is no coincidence whatsoever. There we go. We lost another one. We lost another one. Even in the process of me dismissing these idiotic claims, we lost another one. What do you think is more likely? That a dude who's at the age of 26, okay, the 8, 2 and 6. Luigi Mangione is 26 years old. What happens when you're 26? You lose your parents' health care, okay? Dude has a back surgery. It f***s his life up. He posts on Reddit all the goddamn time. He f***s off to Japan for a couple months. His friends don't know where the f*** he is. And he's actively radicalized by the recovery process. And in that process, he develops an understandable resentment that seemingly virtually every single American that is not like Jake Tapper or a CNN commentator or a New York Times op-ed writer understood immediately, only seconds after it took place. All people needed to know was the name of the victim or the profession of the victim. They knew that he was a CEO of a healthcare company, and everyone was like, oh, I know what happened here. I wonder why everyone so quickly understood exactly what the f*** was going on. That's it. That's it. It doesn't need to be that much more insane. Not just Americans, the entire Western world, like it's insane. I know. Bad take. I'm already digging up the silver bars in my backyard to buy 286 coin, and I'm going to the drone parade. Absolutely think there's nothing to 286, but him putting words on the bullet really does f*** with your head a little because it's so extra. I don't think it's that extra. Yeah, he wanted... Dude, this wasn't like a random guy that he killed. He very clearly had a hit in mind. He very clearly had a target in mind. A healthcare CEO. It seems like he was aware of the United Healthcare being one of the worst. One of the worst at denials. Okay? Allegedly. Like, he very clearly had intention behind what he was doing. Maybe not the best writer. You know, I'm not here to criticize his prose, okay? But like very clearly he had a message in mind, okay? And people got the message very quickly.
I won't stand a chance. I don't know. Right, so you don't pee in the pool, right? And then everybody's getting UTIs because of this one liar, this piece of shit liar. And then halfway through the summer, there's like one brave summer day where you're like, okay, f it, I'm just going for it, right? And then you look down and it's fine, and you're like, dude, f the government, man. Yeah. 9/11 was an inside job. Now I know the truth. I'll march right up to Donald Rumsfeld and piss my pants in his face. I don't care. I got... What happened to the 9/11 guys? I guess they were just proven right. That's a... Now it's just common knowledge. You just go up to somebody's grandma, you're like, you know George Bush is a lizard? And they're like, yes, I know. They're all lizards, and they did 9/11. I know. I'm fully aware, thank you. The 9/11 conspiracy guys, they had a weird trajectory, right? Because they kind of like, they really just like fell off hard and fast. Remember it was like the year after 9/11, they were producing like feature-length, beautiful documentaries on YouTube. That was the only thing on YouTube when it started. It was like child pornography and then beautiful 9/11 documentary.
True.
And now it's the biggest company in the world. Yeah, they made these great documentaries, and then 3 years after that, a 9/11 conspiracy theorist who was just the dumbest guy you know, folding up a $20 bill, trying to show you, trying to show you an optical illusion. Do you know any guys like that? Yeah, I had a friend that would do that. I'd be like, dude, you gotta see this. This is gonna blow your mind.
Dude, I think like Zeitgeist specifically was like Loose Change and Zeitgeist for my like prepubescent mind was like lasers, okay? Oh my God, dude, it was lasers. God damn, dude. It was unironically like it was so instructive in my development. If you were to ask me a single thing from any of those documentaries, I can't remember a goddamn thing. But at the time, it was like the torrented Zeitgeist rip. And I think Zeitgeist wasn't as crazy as like Loose Change. I think was Zeitgeist the one that was like I can't remember what it was. One of them wasn't that bad. One of them was like low key not that bad. It was like it was, I mean, there's varying degrees of like psychotic shit. And I think if I'm not mistaken, Zeitgeist was the one that was like the normal one that was like, we should look into the Saudis. Yeah, and it's weird that that these guys were basically, one of them was anti-Semitic, the other one wasn't. That's how I remember it. And I can't remember if Zeitgeist was the one that was I mean, they both devolve into batshit crazy conspiratorial thinking. There's no way you can have just like, there's no way you can have like any normal 9/11 documentary. Okay, I guess unless it's like what's it called? The book, the one that isn't a conspiracy. It was the Burning Tower. What the was it? Was it the Looming Tower? No, I think it was. Yeah, the Looming Tower. The Looming Tower. Al Qaeda on the road to 9/11. My English teacher made everyone in class watch Zeitgeist, and I was nearly brainwashed by it. He also made us make essays on it and nearly convinced us.
He spends all his time folding up a $20 bill. He shows it to me. He's like, doesn't it look like the tower's on fire? It's like, no, it looks like your parents should switch to direct deposit. I don't know why they're giving you cash to do this with. But that was always so funny to me because it's like, what do you think happened, right? Like the CIA was like, okay, plan's ready to go. Ready to blow up the World Trade Center. There's only one step left. The clues. Yep. Yeah, it's clue time. It's time to get the clues out there, so we're going to have the Treasury team up with Mad Magazine to create a fold-in on the money.
He's such a boomer for making a Mad Magazine reference, but I mean, yes, this is a fantastic joke.
Tip off this unemployed man. He's going around, he's like, look, it's the Illuminati. And you're like, actually, it's origami. It's
yeah. The folding the $20 9/11 tower thing is a boomer reference. I know. Charlie talked about how he watched Zeitgeist when he was 14 and he thought it was so cool. He turned into a presentation for his 9th grade class. Yeah. I don't think it's that bad to have a little bit of conspiratorial thinking. It's just that you can't just like be at the mercy of that. Okay. Like if that is something that sparks a curiosity, a fascination in your mind, like a little bit of that is healthy where you're like, let me investigate this stuff further. But if you don't have any critical thinking associated with it, you can find yourself in the whims of like, the Jews did it so quickly. You know what I mean? That's it. Yeah. Dipping your toes in those waters at least for me, was helpful in the way that I viewed the world. Okay? It was a healthy curiosity and a healthy skepticism. But the issue is, I think, people mistake that healthy curiosity with unhealthy.
At this moment.
What is this? This was the Zoomer zeitgeist, the lie we live. What is this? It received over 26 million views. However, a music company put a copyright claim. What is this? What the fuck is this about? I've never even encountered this before. Of course, Zeitgeist was like 8 hours long, 3 different documentaries, but then for the Zoomers, it has to be an 8-minute YouTube video. Great. And for Generation Alpha, it's going to be a TikTok. For Gen Alpha, it's going to be a TikTok. For the generation that comes after Gen Alpha, it's just going to be one word. An AI summary. What is this about? Zeitgeist 2 and 3 are actually legit. The second one talks about the monetary system, and the third one introduces me to systemic solutions for systemic problems and how structural violence is prevalent. It had Robert Sapolsky and Gabor Mate the goats. What is this about?
Could be anywhere, doing anything. Instead, you sit alone before a screen. So what's stopping us from doing what we want, being where we want to be? Each day we wake up in the same room and follow the same path to live the same day as yesterday. Yet at one time, each day was a new adventure. Along the way, something changed. Before, our days were timeless. Now our days are scheduled. Is this what it means to be grown up? To be free? But are we really free? Until a day comes.
Dude, everything, this guy is literally, what's really sad about a lot of these conspiracies is that, like, there is one conspiracy, okay? And I don't mean like a conspiracy theory. I mean like people conspiring, okay? It's just capitalism. And because of an endless amount of Red Scare propaganda, these people will look at all of this stuff and get so close to just being like, yeah, the system is basically designed to keep you servile, docile, work till the day you die, and all of the natural resources that are bountiful and plenty are directly shut off from you. But instead of recognizing that it's just capitalism, they'll turn around and be like, and the solution is drinking raw milk and buying Iraqi dinar. Like, well, what do you, how? Like, how did you basically describe everything correctly and then just got it so wrong? How is that possible? And yeah, the Iraqi dinar is a substitute, by the way. It can be, it's crypto now. All right? It's cryptocurrency, various different cryptocurrencies.
When we are too old to do our job, it is here we're left to die. Our children take our place in the game. To us, our path is unique, but together we are nothing more than fuel. The fuel that powers the elite who hide behind the logos of corporations. This is their world, and their most valuable resource is not in the ground. It is us. We build their cities. We run their machines. We fight their wars.
Bro, this is just Das Kapital. Like, reductive so far. It's like the one... Like, there is no value without labor. You are labor. You are the labor force.
After all, money isn't what drives them. It's power. Money is simply the tool they use to control us. Worthless pieces of paper we depend on to feed us, move us, entertain us. They gave us money, and in return, we gave them the world. Where there are trees that cleaned our air, are now factories that poison it. Where there was water to drink, is toxic waste that stinks. Where animals ran free are factory farms where they are born and slaughtered endlessly for our satisfaction. Over 1 billion people are starving, despite us having enough food for everybody. Where does it all go? 70% of the grain we grow is fed to the animals you eat for dinner. Why help the starving? You can't profit off them. We are like a plague sweeping the earth, tearing apart the very environment that allows us to live. We see everything as something to be sold, as an object to be owned. But what happens when we have polluted the last river, poisoned the last breath of air, have no oil for the trucks that bring us our food? When will we realize money can't be eaten, that it has no value? We aren't destroying the planet, we're destroying all life on it. Every year, thousands of species go extinct, and time is running out before we're next. If you live in America, there's a 41% chance you get cancer. Heart disease will kill 1 out of 3 Americans. We take prescription drugs to deal with these problems, but medical care is the 3rd leading cause of death, behind cancer and heart disease. We're told everything can be solved by throwing money at scientists so they can discover a pill to make our problems go away. But the drug companies and cancer societies...
Dog, this is not AI voiceover slop. It's from 2017. Okay, calm down. Or from 2015. Oh my God. Okay, I don't know about medical care being the 3rd cause of death. I don't know what he means by that. But like every single thing that he's talking about is not incorrect. I just want to know what he's going to tie it back to.
Rely on our suffering to make a profit. We think we're running for a cure, but really we're running away from the cause. Our body is a product of what we consume, and the food we eat is designed purely for profit. We fill ourselves with toxic chemicals, the bodies of animals infested with drugs and diseases. But we don't see this. The small group of corporations that own the media don't want us to. Surrounding us with a fantasy we're told is reality. It's funny to think humans once thought the Earth was the center of the universe. But then again, now we see ourselves as the center of the planet. We point to our technology and say we're the smartest. But do our computers, cars, and factories really illustrate how intelligent we are? Or do they show how lazy we become? We put this civilized mask on, but when you strip that away, what are we? How quickly we forget only within the past 100 years did we allow women to vote, allow blacks to live as equals. We act as if we're all-knowing beings, yet there's much we fail to see. We walk down the street ignoring the little things, the eyes who stare, the stories they share, seeing everything as a background to me. Perhaps we fear we're not alone, that we're a part of a much bigger picture. But we fail to make the connection. We're okay killing pigs, cows, chickens, strangers.
I think this guy is just a vegan, dude. I don't have any... Okay, yes, he said blacks, chat. I know, it's weird. Okay, I know. I know. God, okay, listen. So far, I want to know what he's going to tie all this shit back to. But so far, there's no... Like, I don't have any issues with this at all, okay?
Just from foreign lands. But not our neighbors. Not our dogs or cats. Those we have come to love and understand.
Yeah, he's definitely a vegan, though. Holy shit, he talked so much about, like, animal welfare. It is crazy how much he's factored. How much he's, like, talked about animal welfare is, like... Not that it's, you know, wrong. I don't think he's wrong at all. He is correct. But... his hyper focus on animal welfare leads me to believe that he's just like, you know, trying to slam some vegan agitprop in here.
We call other creatures stupid, yet we point to them to justify our actions. But does killing simply because we can, because we always have, make it right? Or does it show how little we've learned, that we continue to act out of primal aggression, rather than thought and compassion?
Yeah, I mean, we don't act out of primal aggression when we're doing imperialism. Like, that's what I mean. This is why I'm saying, like, I don't think this guy is I don't think this person is a socialist at all. It's just like he's also, yeah, these guys are hunting. There's definitely a very good reason for them to be out there with spears. You know what I mean?
One day, the sensation we call happiness, we tear the world apart looking for joy, without ever looking within ourselves. Many of the happiest people that stop waiting for change and be the change you want to see.
Oh my God. It's like Bush morphing into Obama is some devious work. I just like vegan anarcho-primitivist. I can see that.
We didn't get to this point by sitting on our asses. The human race survived not because we are the fastest or the strongest, but because we work together. We have mastered the act of killing. Now let's master the joy of living.
This is the most annoying dude at your service job. I mean, he's like, this is And dudes that get primed by this are so close. They just need the correct bow to tie it all together. They're close, yet so far away. Okay? Stuff like this, if left unchecked, arguments like this being made by your coworkers, this is the most coworker ass argument. Probably the wokest coworker that you have, and most likely the most annoying coworker you have. Okay? Is if not examined, if not led to its ultimate conclusion, will lead people so far down the craziest rabbit holes. Okay, this is literally, I mean, people are saying this is 2016 Joe Roganism. You're 100% right. And look at 2024 Joe Rogan. Okay, I think one of the biggest mistakes that America engaged in, its biggest self-own, was completely dominating the communication sphere and shutting off every matter of like materialist analysis and socialist learning. Just like shutting off virtually every single American, virtually every single person in the Western world from ever developing an understanding. You don't have to be a card-carrying communist at all. But like the very fact that this was like not allowed, and not only was it not allowed, but also just actively discouraged, actively vilified, is the reason why people constantly find themselves like looking for answers to why everything is happening. They feel the anger, they feel the pain, they feel the monotony of daily existence, and then they have no solution for it. They have no way of understanding why things are happening. Okay? And while it is very beneficial for capital owners to keep the masses sedated, away from recognizing like why they have so much frustration, anger, resentment, why they feel so much pain, it also ends up completely shutting them off from that solution, a materialist understanding of the world, and makes them seek out other answers. And when you seek out other answers, you are almost always going to go back to good-bad dynamics. Why is all this control happening? Because some people are bad. They're just intrinsically bad. They're irredeemably bad. They're ontologically evil. Okay? They're ontologically evil. Who is the they? And the they, for many conspiratorial-minded people, almost always goes back to the Jews. Now, in recent years, people have tried to move the they to more appropriate vectors of hate. Trans people, undocumented people, Muslims, right? But ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's not the appropriate, it's not the real problem. It's not those who are actually in control. Okay?
About saving the planet. The planet will be here.
When I say appropriate vectors of hate, I don't mean like it's actually appropriate to hate on these groups. I mean that society has deemed these marginalized groups to be appropriate to hate because it's not disruptive. It is not disruptive to those who control society, capital owners under capitalism. And they're not actually voluntarily behaving this way. They're not aware. I mean, there is a lot more class consciousness among those who own capital, for sure, than the average working class person. Having said that, however, I don't think that these people are like, I want to be evil, and that's why I want to be a CEO to do evil shit. Or, ooh, I can't wait for, this policy to be implemented just so we can dominate the poors more. No, it's just like it's taught as though it's normal. The system that we exist under is perfectly normal and good. And there are no alternatives. And if there were any other alternatives, those alternatives would be scary and bad and evil, like socialism. Okay? So then, when you have no access to an alternative mode of thinking, and you are stuck within the confines of permissible pro-capitalist boundaries, you're inevitably going to look for villains. Yeah, billionaires aren't inherently evil. They're just mediums through which the flow of capital operates. Exactly.
Whether we are or not. Earth has been around for billions of years. Each of us will be lucky to last 80, falling upwards, but rather falling down. We just have screens in our faces, so we don't see where we're heading. This present moment is what every step, every breath, and every death has led to. We are the faces of all who came before us. And now it is our turn. You can choose to carve your own path or follow the road.
Yeah, I mean, this is hyper individualistic garbage at the end of it. Okay, I wonder what COVID did to this guy. How much you want to bet he's pumping out content that is blaming Jews now?
What is the China language?
I'd be shocked if he. The stupidity of modern conspiracies. Conservatives need to evolve past religion. Culture war is a lie, before and after. How immigration ruined Canada. Feminist versus hate speech. How to spot a racist. Is your child trans? Satire. A trans story with a twist. This TED Talk will transform your life. How progressives defeat you. DEI, how companies hire people today. Feminism's secret mission revealed. The secret woke training film. Why vegans annoy me even though I'm vegan. He's a Canadian vegan conspiracy theorist who is now like firmly in the right-wing ecosystem. The white decline, where is it? He has a white decline video? Oh, the white decline. Black pride, white pride. Oh my God. He's an intactivist. Scroll down. Okay, that makes sense. That is the least shocking thing that I have. All his videos are something a 15-year-old realized for the first time and thinks he's a genius. Yeah. So anyway, we're not gonna watch the rest of this shit. We're not gonna watch the rest of his videos. My point is, yeah, at some point when he started questioning these grand conspiracies, these narratives, and the meaninglessness of existence. Okay, what's the urge to dunk on this leftist? Man, shut the up. So far, you don't seem to have much on this guy. A guy who's anti-trans, who's hysterically making 600 viewed YouTube videos about DEI. What a leftist this guy is. The entire point that I'm making is that that person could have turned out very differently. He isn't the zeitgeist guy. I never said he is the zeitgeist guy. Dude, what is happening in my chat today, man? Usually we're just all like, you understand what I'm presenting to you. Okay? You understand what I'm presenting to you. Right now, today, we got a bunch of people who are saying, oh, you said you don't like pancakes? You must mean you hate, or you must love waffles. Very annoying. Sunday chatters is a different crowd, I know. There's hella people screaming you like waffles in the chat. Drone panic has brought in some of the silliest in here.
Frustrated by a lack of answers, the Fed saying, quote, many of the reported drone sightings are in fact manned aircraft being misidentified as drones. But information remains thin, leading to growing questions and theories about those objects in the sky. NBC's Sam Brock has more in our Sunday Focus.
This music is so funny.
What is that? The last time this many people had their eyes trained on the sky, they were watching April's solar eclipse. Now, something much more mysterious has their attention. Drones seemingly everywhere this week.
This is crazy how fast this thing's moving now.
With sightings reported in at least 5 states, New Jersey alone recording up to 180 per night.
How many would you say are above us right now?
Residents both curious and alarmed.
It was like a humming sound at first, and I was like, it sounded like a helicopter. I was like, it wasn't strong enough to be a helicopter.
Some lawmakers say they've been left in the dark.
I've been a little frustrated. There hasn't been enough transparency, letting people know what's happening. It's allowing a lot of potentially misinformation to spread, or at least fear.
And New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew making this claim.
Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. These are from high sources. I don't say this lightly.
But the Pentagon has shot down that idea. For their part, the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security say there is no national security threat and no evidence of foreign influence. But then, what is going on?
Coming right above my house.
One popular theory, the U.S. government is flying these drones as part of a top-secret program, something the Secret Service denies. Frank Fogluzzi served as Assistant Director for Counterintelligence at the FBI.
Is it the federal government that's testing something? Do you think there's any credence to that?
The public is going to jump to a conspiracy theory. And by the way, I understand that. If they're going to think, look, we're not getting all the facts. This can't be that the government doesn't have answers. It must be that they're covering up some secret testing program.
The FAA is the agency in charge of creating drone regulations, but they may not have all the tools they need for enforcement.
This is yet another example of technology getting out in front of us. And now we're wondering, who's in charge?
And some of those drones are reportedly quite large. A recreational drone is typically around 1 to 2 feet in diameter, but these mysterious drones are said to measure up to 6 feet, roughly the size of a...
The other part of this is like, who measured them? Like, people just, the very same people that think these drones are 6 feet are, the people that say these drones are definitely 6 feet are ironically the very same people that think planes are drones. You know what I mean? I'm not so convinced that they've seen hella 6 feet drones. I have yet to see any of these drones in broad daylight. And I don't understand, I don't understand where these flying fridges are. And yet they've yet to be captured by, all of these. They've yet to be captured by these people. Math equations, maybe?
Of a refrigerator. Drone capabilities are also expanding. Police now use them for crowd control and to assist first responders. Soldiers deploy them on battlefields around the world. The worst case scenario, a terror strike.
Make no bones about it. When you get to a certain size and capacity to actually carry weaponry, you're talking about the potential for violent attack.
Yet another reason Fogluzzi says the time for Congress to act is right now, updating drone laws and coordinating federal response efforts. As these nighttime phantoms flying around neighborhoods continue to worry residents and spark more conversations about why they're there.
And Sam joins me now live from New Jersey. Sam, good morning. It's great to see you. As you know from talking to people there, many are not satisfied with this nothing to see here message from federal officials. So what else is being done to identify the drones or whatever they may be?
Sure, Willie. So first of all, the FBI says there is no timeline with regards to the investigation, but they clearly, Willie, have heard the calls for more information from people throughout this region. There was a conference call.
Why are you covering these drones so much? It's so inconsequential. Why do you feel the need to constantly chirp at what I decide to cover? Why can't you just enjoy the show? You know what I mean? Come on, you immediately disregard everything. Luigi or this. On the spectrum, 2005. Yeah, I didn't disregard Luigi. I just disregarded that, the 286 narrative has any sort of serious, that there's, any sort of serious thing happening. Hey. Oh, my God. Same chatter who's like, nah, I believe that Luigi actually was doing something with that 286 number.
Over the weekend that involved the FBI, the FAA, the Department of Defense, the Department of Homeland Security. Some really crucial nuggets coming out of that. Some of the highlights. They received about 5,000 tips to their national tip line. They say roughly 100 of them or less were actually actionable, which is to say fewer than 2% of all of the calls. There is also apparently a huge coinciding, Willie, between the reports that are coming in, the density of those reports, and the flight patterns for LaGuardia, Newark airports. So they're seeing potentially the narrative supported that people might be confusing manned aircraft for drones. You also have another sort of nugget here that was pretty crucial. There's no evidence of a connection between what's been seen in the greater New York, New Jersey area and other parts of the country. All of that to lead to the fact that the FBI says there might be a slight overreaction reaction here, but there are...
About the 6 feet claim from a recent NBC article, eyewitness report, social media videos, officials confirm the drones are up to 6 feet in diameter, can quickly go from emitting eerie lights to no light at all and often avoid detection. Why do they emit any lights whatsoever if they're spying drones? 6-foot drone for sale. The Aurelia X8 Max, ready to fly. To turn off lights to hide from cop drones? What are you talking about? Why would they have the lights on to begin with then? Why? Why do they have the lights on to begin with if they're here to spy on us? Vloggers getting B-roll or government conspiracy? Probably aliens. When I'm sending drones to surveil highly sensitive sites, I like to use extremely bright beacon and strobe lights to make sure that every knuckle-dragging drooler in a 200-mile radius can spot them. Exactly. Like, why the Are you in on it too? Yeah, I'm in on it, dude. I'm in on it. I have the technological prowess of a goddamn caveman or an ape, but I'm secretly a part of this vast conspiracy of drones that are being unleashed upon American military bases, and perhaps more importantly, like Bellevue, New Jersey, and the important cultural landmarks that exist there, like the Wawa down the street. And I know that we have to hide the truth. We must hide the truth. We must shelter the American public from this secret conspiracy.
Real-world consequences. On Friday, about 90 minutes outside of New York City, an airport had to shut down one of its runways for roughly an hour because of drone sightings. The governor of the state, Kathy Hochul, saying that this now has gone too far, Willie.
Wow, it is so fascinating and still a lot of answers to be had here. We'll continue to stay on it. Sam, thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Let's bring in Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us this morning. Can you clear up the confusion here?
Absolutely, George, and thank you very much for having me. There's no question that people are seeing drones, and I want to assure the American public that we in the federal government have deployed additional resources, personnel, technology.
It's so funny because this operates drones along the border. Like, that's what the Department of Homeland Security does. What do you think they do? They have drones that operate all alongside the border, the U.S.-Mexico border. They're engaging in mass surveillance in real time, all the time.
To assist the New Jersey State Police in addressing the drone sightings. Some of those drone sightings are, in fact, drones. Some are manned aircraft that are commonly mistaken for drones. And we do see duplicative reporting. But there's no question that drones are being sighted. Let me set the record straight here, George. There are thousands of drones flown every day in the United States. Recreational drones, commercial drones. That is the reality. And in September of 2023, the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, changed the rules so that drones could fly at night. And that may be one of the reasons why now people are...
I've yet to see one convincing video of like a 6-foot drone. I'm not even saying that there aren't any. And I'm not saying that there aren't probably like what do you call it? I'm not saying that there aren't probably like, you know, defense contractors just like testing out their new technology, okay? Half of the UAP sightings from like Navy officers or whatever is usually just that, okay? Half of the UFOs that they spot are basically just that. But the notion that like the notion that there are vast swarms of like foreign adversaries that are sending drones to investigate the regular citizens of New Jersey seems insane.
Are seeing more drones.
Will you eat crow if you do end up being dead wrong? What dead wrong on what front? That this is like Chinese drones or Iranian drones to spy on unsuspecting Americans or aliens? Because those are the two conspiracies that I am not in agreement with. Like, what is your assessment? There are cinema-grade drones used to film. Here's one in action, exactly in the beginning. Yeah. There you go. That's how big that thing is, dude. Eyvallah baba. Yok aldım sipariş verdim. I feed the cranking me with coffee and cigarettes. I think these are just normal drones, and this kind of sighting pattern is normal. It's just that the media has been blowing this out of proportion to try to cover up the Luigi situation. I don't even think it's to cover up the Luigi situation necessarily. I think it's just because they love weird shit like this. Evet, duyuyorum çünkü buradan.
Than they did before, especially from dawn to dusk. And so that is the reality. But I want to assure the American public that we are on it. We are working in close coordination with state and local authorities. And it is critical, as we all have said for a number of years, that we need from Congress additional authorities to address the drone situation. Our authorities currently are limited, and they are set to expire. We need them extended and expanded.
What exactly do you need?
We want state and local authorities to also have the ability to counter drone activity under federal supervision. That is one important element that we have requested, and we've heard it echoed by the state and local officials themselves.
You know, President-elect Trump has put out a post on this. I want to put it up on the screen.
Never let a good conspiracy crisis go to waste, chap. Oh, man. I guess we have to get more police funding to combat the drones. I guess we have to expand the surveillance state to combat the drones. Anytime you guys will get whipped up into a frenzy, anytime the average American gets whipped up into a frenzy, these will use it as an opportunity to expand the already vast surveillance state.
Screen right now. He says, mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know and now, otherwise shoot them down. Your response?
Well, we are aware of the drone sightings, as I've said. I think there are more than 8,000 drones flown every day in the United States. With respect to the ability to incapacitate those drones, we are limited in our authorities. We have certain agencies within the Department of Homeland Security that can do that, and outside our department. But we need those authorities expanded as well.
Are there any legitimate national security concerns here? For example, have you seen any evidence at all, especially in these recent sightings in the Northeast, of any kind of foreign involvement?
We have not seen any foreign, we know of no foreign involvement with respect to the sightings in the Northeast. And we are vigilant in investigating this matter. The Department of Homeland.
He said that because there was a Chinese person that they caught in near a base with a drone that was surveilling an American spy satellite being launched. You know, when there are people who use drones, whether they are commercial drones or not, doesn't matter, actually spying on some real shit, they get caught.
Homeland Security with the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the lead.
But there have been concerns in the past. In fact, a Chinese national was arrested in California this week, allegedly for flying a drone over Vandenberg Air Force Base. Last year, you had drone flights over Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, over a nuclear facility in Nevada. So what is the national security concern right now?
Well, when a drone is flown over restricted airspace, we act very, very swiftly. And in fact, when an individual in California flew a drone over restricted airspace, that individual was identified apprehended and is being charged by federal authorities. And so we act as swiftly as possible when an individual does fly a drone over restricted airspace and violates the rules. You know, there are, George, more than 1 million drones.
You still grifting? Yes. Yes, I'm still grifting. Thank you for checking in.
Registered in the United States.
Fucking bot.
That's an awful lot, but bottom line, you're saying Americans have nothing to worry about?
Look, it is our job to be vigilant in the federal government with our state and local partners on behalf of the American public, and we can assure their safety by reason of that vigilance. We've deployed personnel, technology, and if there is any reason for concern, if we identify any foreign involvement or criminal activity, we will communicate with the American public accordingly. Right now, we are not aware of any. If we become aware of any, we will communicate accordingly and take appropriate action.
Secretary Mayorkas, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, George.
A couple of years ago, I made a video on this channel called My Plan to Quit Streaming. And in that video,
you can only fly a drone 400 feet AGL, or you can only fly 400 feet above the ground the pilot is standing on. You are sidestepping, taking any big extremist viewpoints. I get it. They want us to focus on this. Another narrative. Look where the media puts its spotlight. I bet future POTUS will shoot them down, proving they are Russian. What? I don't know how to describe this, but yeah, let's do a drone light show over an American city and become their gods. Yeah, not in real life. I've only seen videos of it. It's sick. Yeah. Specifically suburban New Jersey. Are there any conspiracy theories you believe in? Maybe. I don't know. Quick update for Congressman JVD. IRGCC drone carrier mothership still at anchor off the coast of Bandar Abbas. IRIS forward operating base and drone launcher in port at Bandar Abbas. What are your thoughts on them using this for crowd control? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why'd you say, this doesn't... Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. I don't even think is a conspiracy. I don't consider it to be a conspiracy theory. I just know it to be true. So yeah. This is the first video about these drones. This got me genuinely concerned, says Joe Rogan. Here we go.
Hey everyone, my name is John Ferguson. I'm the CEO of Saxon Aerospace here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm not normally a TikTok kind of a guy. I like watching this stuff every once in a while. But I'm a manufacturer of unmanned aircraft, military grade unmanned aircraft, as you can see one of my systems here. There's all of these mysterious drones going on off the East Coast, and as a professional, as a subject matter expert, I wanted to give you all my opinion on what I think could be going on with these drones. I don't particularly believe that these have a nefarious intent. I could be wrong, but I want to give you the truth and what I believe. It's my own opinion, and I've not bounced this off of anybody, so, you know, if you think it's bullshit, whatever.
My friend was trying to get the video of one of the drones she saw during the day. Her camera app was just a black screen and she had to force close it. By the time she got it open again, it was too far away. All right.
That's cool. You know, I don't want to spread misinformation, as we know that there's a lot of that going around. But anyway, back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program. And there were, with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay, we don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And
this is all funny. Because we have lost our own nukes. And if you want to understand the federal law enforcement agency's like opinion on that, let me tell you, okay? There's one in the middle of a farm that they just basically partitioned off, okay? I don't think they give a shit. I don't think the federal government has ever been predisposed with, you know, trying to save people's lives because they're worried that there's like secret nukes out there. Might be wrong. Maybe they got woke this year under the Brandon regime. But I'll tell you what, this was not a concern throughout American history.
I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case. So I spoke to a gentleman.
A defense contractor with any level of security clearance would never tell you the truth about any of this shit. The very fact that this guy is like openly talking about it means that like he probably no longer has active contracts with DOD. That's crazy. Like, I'd be shocked if you have any level of clearance with the Department of Defense at any point. And there are engineers in my chat that know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. There ain't no way, bro. Defense contractors are the leakiest on the planet. Not with anyone that wants to keep their jobs. Okay. You can only do that if you're Elon Musk, and it doesn't really matter. Random low-level engineers are not gonna, with any level of knowledge, are not going to risk their livelihood.
A few months ago, who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And he knew that that thing was headed towards the United States. Okay?
What?
That is a very serious deal. And everyone knows that the United States government, this administration, is pushing to get into a war with Russia. We all know that. We all feel it. We all see it. Okay? Well, back up a few years. Do y'all remember when those drones were mysteriously flying across the Interstate 70 corridor from Colorado up into Nebraska, down here into Kansas, and out into Missouri? Well, it was believed that those drones were looking for radioactive material because there had been some material that come up missing here in the United States, and they felt like it was high probability that the nuclear or the radioactive material would be taken along the Interstate 70 corridor heading east or west or south. So from what we understand, they were out there trying to find this radioactive material. Now, drones, they have no reason to be in the air at night unless you're doing some type of ISR work, intelligence surveillance.
What? Dog, you literally build drones for the government. I'm sure you're aware that there are a ton of recreational drone users out there, right? Drones can't fly at night. They're scared. Everybody knows. A drone has never flown at night. They're scared in the dark, unless they are my military drones that I make. I'm making with the special sauce. Wait, what? Why are you so against all subject matter experts on this, Hasan? You are the expert of all experts, however. Wait, what? I'm sorry, but the subject matter experts saying that their drones have no capacity to fly at night is going to cause a little bit of cynicism, a little bit of skepticism in me. I don't think that that's that weird. I mean, I think that statement in and of itself is kind of wild. Every drone expert has come on and said that these are not even similar to commercial drones. Has any of the drone experts actually seen these drones? Have you? What are you talking about? Every drone expert has said that these aren't the drones you're looking for. Yeah. The very same people. This is a 5-month subscriber. There ain't no way this guy is going to ever tell me that Elon Musk is a subject matter expert on any damn thing. But the moment that you got some yokel over here being like, listen, I'll make drones for the military And as a subject matter expert with high-level security clearance, I'm here to tell you these drones are actually nuclear radiation tracking drones, because Ukraine is the enemy of America. They want us to go to war with Russia, and they're faking it. It's a psyop. They're going to nuke. They are going to nuke Wildwoods, New Jersey, America's most significant cultural artifact, in an effort to wage war against Russia. This is the start of something different. Meanwhile, America could have done the very same things that they have done in the past, which is send trainers out to Ukraine and have them get shot at if they wanted to do nuclear holocaust against a nuclear armed state like Russia. They could have just done the old Vietnam trick. They've done it in the past. Now, of course, Vietnam didn't have nuclear weapons at the time, now did they? You're acting like everybody's an idiot except you. You're responding to shapes and sizes and my comedic approach to whatever the fuck is happening here, instead of listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay? I'm not saying I know what's going on, but I would question the validity of claims being made by a guy who has decided that this is like unexploded Ukrainian nuclear ordnance that's being trafficked into the United States of America so that they can explode them and then claim Russia did it to go to war with Russia. You literally said these were just airplanes yesterday? Yes, they are. Man, shut the fuck up. Shut your bitch ass up. Oh my God, you're doing an accent. I'm mad. Yeah, the overwhelming majority of the drone spottings are commercial airplanes, you dumb is true. And not only that, but also stars. Okay? Most people don't have the understanding. Even subject matter experts are going to have a hard time figuring out whether what they're looking at is a drone or a commercial airliner. You said all of them? That's not what I said. No, I didn't. You heard like 10 seconds of my commentary and ran along with it. What am I doing right now? Why are there so many goddamn debate perverts in the chat today being like, no, you actually said every single one was a commercial airliner? No, every single one that we've seen has been either a commercial airliner or a fighter jet or some shit. Or Cessnas. Stop arguing with morons. I mean, 90% of what I do are arguing with morons. The problem is, in the nighttime, when you look at the sky, yeah, you're not going to have the best visibility, and you're going to be led astray, especially if you're primed into thinking that what you're looking at is a drone. Some of them are drones, but you're thinking that they're much larger and nefarious drones, rather than like the drones that your conspiracy-minded neighbor has tasked with finding out what's going on with these other drones. I'm not saying I'm 100% correct, but as far as this shit goes, I don't think this guy is on the money at all.
Surveillance reconnaissance, looking for bad guys, or looking for a victim, a search and rescue victim, or law enforcement, or some type of military project, right? There's no reason for a drone to be flying at night, really, okay? Because they don't see shit. So, unless you have thermal optics, drones really don't see stuff. You need to do mapping during the day. If you're going to do farming stuff, you mostly do it during the day. The only reason why you would ever fly an aircraft, an unmanned aircraft at night, is if you're looking for something, whether it be a person or trying to smell gas. We have methane gas detection systems that can detect gas leaks in pipelines. You really wouldn't use thermal optics for trying to find gas leaks, just simply because the only way you're actually going to find a gas leak with thermal optics is if the gas leak is aggressive enough that it has a difference in temperature. Because thermal imaging, it creates a digital image based off of the temperature variance. So whatever is different in temperature, it creates an image. Usually gas leaks so slow that it goes quickly into ambient.
Here's a third thing. Are you ready for it? That weirdly enough, he's not accounting for. It's called random people with their own personal drones that are flying them. He makes it seem as though there's not like thousands of Americans that have drones that they fly recreationally and are definitely now flying them either because they want to freak people out or because they want to investigate these other drone sightings themselves with their drones.
Before you can even see it. So we have special sensors that can detect gas leaks. We also have special sensors that can detect radioactive material. So with this gentleman that I had spoken with, who was trying to raise the alarm to try to get somebody in the government to say, hey, we need to work together to go try to find this nuclear warhead, none of that ever happened. They knew that warhead was on its way to the United States. That's all that ever came of it. Nothing ever happened. This government did not do anything at all to help this gentleman raise the alarm and raise awareness that there is a very deadly weapon on its way to the United States. It's out there. Nobody knows where it's at now. It left Europe. Now it's gone. So my guess, my own guess, is that these drones are not nefarious in intent. If they are, they are, but I doubt it. But if they are drones, the only reason why they would be flying and flying that low is because they're trying to smell something on the ground. That's it. There's no other reason for a drone to be flying in the air other than to piss a bunch of people off at night. That's it. So my belief is they're trying to smell something on the ground. Gas leaks, radioactive material, whatever. So, and do I think that that they're coming up out of the ocean? No, I don't think so. Drones that are multi-copter type drones, not the fixed wing aircraft that look like regular airplanes, but the multi-copters, they only have so much battery life. They have hybrid versions that are gas powered with electric, but those can still only fly for a short period of time. There's no way in hell that any drone is going to go miles.
I can't tell when chatters are being sarcastic or if they're being genuinely idiots about this. And I don't know because there have been far too many 5-month subscribers, 7-month subscribers that have been like, no, dude, you're an asshole. You're an idiot for discounting all the subject matter expertise here. And the subject matter expertise is some random guy who's like, yeah, I sell drones to the Border Patrol. I know a thing or two. I'm a CEO after all, who sells drones to the goddamn Border Patrol. Let me tell you, I got the best Mexican surveillance drones out there. And everybody knows no drones fly. Nobody has drones except for the people I sell my drones to. No, this is not the same chatter. That other chatter that said this guy's a subject matter expert, I banned.
Off the coast as a multi-copter.
Look, I'm not out here trying to push conspiracies, but you're showing a stunning lack of curiosity. Big guy, I'm not trying to push conspiracies, and you're doing a good job of being critical, but man, you are showing a lack of curiosity. Dude, I swear to God, it's just called critical thinking. Like, it literally, that's all this is. My starting point always is, what is the most reasonable solution? And yes, it comes across as no fun, but like, what is the most reasonable answer to this? That's it. I am curious about these prevailing narratives that are running wild all over the internet. Having said that, that doesn't mean I'm going to agree with them.
And fly into the interior of the United States and do a bunch of work and then turn around and fly back. It's just physics will not allow that to happen. So these drones, I believe, are launched from a location that nobody knows, but I do believe that they're flying low enough that they're just trying to sniff the ground and try to find something. So again, I hate to be a pessimist or a guy that thinks, directly to the negative. However, I know as a professional, I mean, we build professional stuff for.
My 60-year-old Republican mother would believe this guy over me on literally any topic. Yeah. Like, there are so many. One, the question is, how do you know that the drone is actually 6 feet and not 4 feet? 2, are there no drones that are commercially available that are 6 feet? 3, FAA regulation aside, why the do you think people actually follow FAA regulation when drones are readily available? Okay? Most people are stupid. There are regulations around guns. People still get them with illegal means. Sometimes they don't even know it's illegal. Okay? All of this combined leads me to believe that the very high likelihood is most likely other people who are curious and started flying their drones on top of people looking up at the sky and assuming that there's like some mysterious drone invasion that is occurring, and mistaking stars, mistaking other regular ass planes as drones, and have whipped themselves into a frenzy. On top of that, I'm certain that there are, like, I'm sure that there's like, I mean, do I think that the federal government, or not federal government, but like the defense contractors are not working with a shit ton of companies that are specifically tasked with procurement, specifically tasked with research and development in drone warfare? Of course that's happening. A lot of that stuff usually happens on in or around bases, and they're very far away from civilian eyes for the most part. I don't know if this is some new military technology that they utilized in New Jersey, and some people saw it, and then the chaos and confusion grew when the media started covering it seriously. And in that chaos, more people started operating drones and looking up at the sky and assuming that every plane they see is a drone. I fear that all of this will lead to something very dangerous when someone inevitably shoots at a commercial aircraft because they thought it was a goddamn drone.
For the military, I believe
planes don't look like drones at all. Yeah, tell that to the dumb New Jerseyans who have very clearly pointed at planes, directly pointed lasers at planes, thinking that it's a drone. You stupid moron. You absolute troglodyte. You think the average American, half of which voted for Donald Trump, are smart enough to make sense of what is an airplane and what is a drone in the middle of the night, especially when they're panicked? Okay, I don't know about this video footage, okay? I don't know how real this is. Don't get
they're actually out there trying to smell something that's very important. So, anyway, let me know what you think of this video. I'm not trying to gaslight. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just trying to let people know that this is a serious deal. It's only serious for what the potential could be, or for what the potential is. There's a lot of them out there. They're flying all over. They're flying low. They're flying at night. There's no reason for it other than to smell something. So anyway, God bless. I hope you all have a wonderful Merry Christmas. And let me know what you think of the video. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's a nuclear waste coming from Ukraine. And this random guy in Kansas, this random CEO of a drone company in Kansas figured it out before anybody else did. And the American government is not taking these clear threats against American safety seriously.
Okay, so I'm picking up on the second video here. The FAA requires all unmanned aircraft to fly that are flying at night to have nav lights. These nav lights are standard nav lights like you would see on any other aircraft, right? It tells you if you can't see the
Yes, I know. Except not everyone abides by that, especially when you have Random people who can just like purchase a drone. And when I say that, everybody immediately jumps at me and says, oh yeah? Random people can purchase $10,000 drones that are the size of refrigerators? First of all, random people purchase jet skis. Okay? Just remember that. Secondly, you have no idea if the drones that people are seeing are 6 feet. Like actually 6 feet. The size of cars. Especially considering that drones with lights on them are readily available and people purchase them and fly them recreationally. Especially consider that people on the ground, especially the panic people on the ground, they have no heat signature somehow. You don't know that. You don't know that. You're making that up. You made it up. You did not put a thermal camera up at this alien, okay, that you think is a, you're just making it up. I'm done. All of you need to be institutionalized. Half of chat needs to immediately check themselves into a mental health care facility. I haven't seen a single point of authority, a single person be like, we put an IR camera on it. We put an IR lens on the drones and they had no heat pattern. Bro, UFOs are real. You're just mad. Hasan's going to be real embarrassed. I respect your work, but it's definitely aliens. Oh my God.
The orientation of the aircraft, then you can see the nav lights and you can determine your orientation of the aircraft by watching these nav lights. But again, the fact that these unmanned systems are using nav lights means that they're complying with FAA regulations, right? So I'll show you what these nav lights look like. But again, they're complying with FAA regulations. They seem to be flying no higher than, say, 400 feet, which the FAA requires.
Like, notice how there's Alicia and many others who are like, okay, I've moved on from the drones. What about the orbs? Like, these people they're crazy, man. They're crazy. They just, and many chatters in here are just as crazy. What about the orbs? It's like, dude, you saw someone dupe you with AI footage. I think it's biased to push towards mundane explanations and also wild explanations. I don't know where he has to take a bias to self-soothe against the real weirdness that is happening. I'm not. I think the real scary thing is how many people have primed themselves into believing that there is something significantly wrong happening. And how quickly narratives like this can dupe the average person. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying for the future of American society.
Any unmanned aircraft with a standard authorization to fly no higher than 400 feet. That's the law. Those are the rules. And if you violate that, then you pretty much stand the risk of getting your license taken away. All drone operators commercially have to have an FAA Part 107. It's very simple to get. You can go on YouTube and type in FAA 107 study course, and you can go get your go to pay $150 and get your drone license, and you can do this in less than a week, right? So again, they seem to be following the FAA regulations. Okay, so I'm gonna take this aircraft here.
This dumb thinks we just lose nuclear warheads. We have. So he's not dumb for thinking we can lose nuclear warheads. We've lost 6. I think he's dumb for thinking that the American federal agencies are like scouring through the American heartland to find a nuclear warhead. In the past, when we lost nuclear warheads, we were just like, oops, it is what it is, I guess.
That I showed you earlier.
Why don't you wait for the evidence before jumping to conclusions? What? Can you tell me what evidence exists right now that I have cast aside? Like, what verifiable evidence exists so far on this narrative that I've simply cast aside? Real quick, before I ban you. I'm the one saying wait for more evidence before jumping to conclusions, not you, dumb. You're the one who assumes that you know exactly what's going on. I'm saying here are the most likely scenarios. Okay? Please, quick. Don't ban. Only a mini troll. It's weekend. Please, I beg.
I'm going to put the battery in it. So you can see here that we have standard drone lights, right? Those are the nav lights, and if you're going to fly at night, you have to see those aircraft. You have to see those lights fly, or you have to see those lights from roughly 3 miles. So now we're going to go to the communication system. The communication system is very complex. I don't believe that they're flying from vessels offshore, because there's only a few things that you can do with your communications. With a standard radio link, which is C2 and video, command and control and video link, your antennas are only going to allow you to fly so far. Okay? So I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to try to do this here. But I'm going to draw a line here. And here you are. Okay? Now, this area here is where your drone's going to fly. And that's with a standard antenna that is kind of directional, moving this way. The other thing we have is a dipole antenna. And that's just a straight up antenna. It kind of just looks like this. You probably have seen them. But they send out a signal like this. And we're using about 1 watt of power. Okay? So with 1 watt of power, with a dipole antenna that sends out a signal of 360 degrees, with 1 watt of power, you may only get, maybe 1,000 yards, or maybe 2,000 yards, So you're not going to get very far.
Well, he's not wrong. He's just describing how drones work. Everything he said so far about FAA regulations and shit, they're all correct. Like, literally everything he's talked about so far is completely correct. The problem is, there are moments where he has this, lapse in judgment, which is when he says stuff like, oh, this can't be, there's no one will ever fly a drone at nighttime unless they're trying to sniff out something. Plenty of people do.
But if you go with a directional antenna and you look at like a pie, like this is half of the pie, and your drone's flying out here, okay, you're taking that 1 watt of power and you're sending it out this way. You may be able to fly here, and that will give you maybe a mile, maybe more than a mile. Okay, so
what? Yep, just like me. I fly around car-sized drones at night just for fun. Have you seen a car-sized drone? Have you seen one? Have you seen a car-sized drone yet? Not saying that they don't exist, but have you seen? Oh, you have. Please link it. Mods will give you permissions to link this truthful drone. Now, if it is actually a plane sighting, yes, I told you I just fly them at night. Man, don't do that. Don't try to be like, oh, I'm just joking. You're saying that for a specific reason. Why are you backing down from your statement? Why are you backing down from your OG statement? You were being sarcastic. Oh, everybody loves. You were being a smartass. I picked up on it. Now you're trying to act like, no, I'm kidding. I'm actually saying that sincerely. How do you explain the government hearings? I mean, it's easy. They do government hearings on a number of different idiotic shit. It's make work. Well, why are you this tight? Because this story and the interpretation from people in this community is exactly what I despise. It's a microcosm of a much larger problem where people just don't want to look at things with a lens of skepticism. People do not want to apply critical thinking. And I fear that when people don't apply critical thinking to silly, innocuous, dumb stories like this, they're also not going to do that for much more significant prevailing narratives that are born out of social conditioning like white supremacy, okay, queer phobia, misogyny, capitalism. That's what I get very upset about. It's the stupidity of it all that frustrates me, okay? And I'm not saying I know exactly what is going on. I'm not saying that at all. But it is unimaginably annoying to me when people come in and they're just like, nah, dog, you just don't get it. It's aliens, and I know it. I worry about it.
So having the vessel or the drones flying off miles off the coast is not feasible. The second thing is you have to look at your flight time. You have drones that have gas, like the
I think you're greatly overstating that these are consumer drones. The majority of these are just real airplanes that people think are drones. Yes, that too. I know. Possible drones spotted. Large drone sightings have been reported flying over multiple states in the mid-Atlantic region in recent weeks. Now we're in Pennsylvania. Where is it? It's unclear if the objects were drones or another form of aircraft. I don't even know if that's a plane. It just looks like a quad rotor drone, the one we were talking about. But see, it's difficult to discern. That's car size, dog. You're stupid. You can't make it out. It can be far away in the distance. That's the problem with nighttime. No, I don't think it's a plane. It looks like a drone. I get why people think that it looks like a drone, because it does. Oh, I'm very tempted to go buy a drone from Best Buy and fly them over elderly neighbors' homes. Any vids of people saying they're aliens, probably good content? No, it's not. You want to know why? Because there's hella people in the chat that do legitimately think it's real and it's actually aliens. And I'm afraid of how stupid my chat is that I'm going to accidentally end up alien pilling half of them. It's unclear if the objects were drones or another form of aircraft. According to the Associated Press, Homeland Security officials met with state and local lawmakers. Drones are legal in Pennsylvania for recreational and commercial use, but they're encouraged to follow FAA administration regulations and flight restrictions. There's no evidence at this time connecting the objects seen in York County and other drone sightings across the region. I'm talking about the testimonies of Navy pilots that see these things and almost hit them on a daily basis. Yeah, that's crank shit, dude. I don't fuck around with any of that UAP stuff. Sorry. I think it's awfully convenient timing that all of a sudden the federal government started acknowledging UFOs, changed the designation to UAPs to make it more serious and give it an air of legitimacy right after, a couple years after we'd started our Space Force. Yeah. This is the beauty about skeptics and cranks. They literally hate government narratives while never really questioning what the government motivation might be. Yeah, no, it's the secret that they've kept for years and years that they're finally releasing to the public to make you schizophrenic. Okay? Also, the idea that like Navy pilots are also these people who are incapable of like, I don't know, missing their mark, seeing something like a light flashing and then interpreting it differently, or you know, some kind of like optical illusion that they see in their sights that they film. It's just crazy because like the idea that all powerful aliens would somehow be able to travel all the way to the United States of America to go to New Jersey, but also have their FAA regulation lights on, like while they're flying around. Like what kind of idiotic American individualism is this? There's a lot of GRE adjacent minds popping off in here. Yeah. I'm more inclined to believe that it's like, I am more inclined to believe that this is a Don Da Don season finale promo than anything else, okay? That's how stupid those other ideas are.